I have got one. I'll get ready. Next, I'm excited about this. This is dedicated to Jack, if he's out there listening, wherever he is in this world, wherever this cold, hard world's led Jack. This is for you, Jack. See if I can get the music going. I have titled this one Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap. So I was going through some of my old stuff when I happened upon my old Yu-Gi-Oh! Card binder. I cracked it open, and the nostalgia came rushing back to me. Remembering pestering the crap out of my mom and dad to buy me new packs in exchange for house chores, also doing yard work for the neighbors just so I could go buy a few booster boxes of cards. But as I was flipping through the pages, one card in particular caught my eye. My first edition Machine King. This card holds a dark story, and thus our story begins. When I was 8 years old, I found out about Yu-Gi-Oh! Through a friend of mine, and I was immediately obsessed with the show, the card game, and anything related to it. I got my first 2 card decks not so long after, a Seto Kai starter deck and a Yugi starter deck. Of course, excited, I took these to school to show them off to my friends. Most of them hadn't even heard of Yu-Gi-Oh! Before. One of my friends who did know of the game had told me that there were Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments being held at our local Walmart. I was flipping out at the thought of this. I was so excited. I found out it was being held on Saturdays out in the lawn and gardens section. So on the very next Saturday, I begged my dad to take me. He had to do some grocery shopping anyways, so he didn't see the harm in it. He took me back to the lawn and garden section and made sure to tell me, "I'll be done in about an hour. If anyone tries to grab you, hurt you, or anything at all like that, make sure you scream for the nearest employee." Now, I wasn't a dumb kid by any means, but keep this in mind for the remainder of the story. So I looked for anyone around my age to duel. There were some teenagers, some adults supervising, and any kid that was near my age was actually already playing with somebody else who was their age. I was pretty bummed out and almost left because of this. Before I had the chance to turn around and leave, I heard a voice say, "Hey, are you looking for someone to duel with?" I turned to see an older man, maybe mid to late 30s, short, almost buzz-cut, level hair. It was brown-colored hair. He was very skinny and extremely pale. He had dark, sunken eyes. He was wearing a brown leather jacket. The jacket threw me off, and it's something that I still don't really understand, because on this day, it was late spring, and it was extremely hot and humid out. Definitely not a leather jacket weather type of day. I replied to him, "Sure." I felt a bit safe knowing that employees were nearby. He let me go first. As we duel, I glanced up at him. When I ended my turn, I'd see his unblinking gaze. He put cards down without ever breaking eye contact with me or blinking. Eventually, our duel came to an end. I lost and extended my hand to shake his for a duel well done. Instead of shaking my hand, he gave me a Machine King, which is a card I had never seen before. He said to me, "That's for you, and thanks for the duel." After he left, I was pretty confused, but at the same time, I was content because I had just gotten a free card. At the time, I thought Machine King was a pretty damn powerful one. After a couple more duels, my dad showed up and I had to leave. The next Saturday, he was there again. Of course, we dueled, and this time I won. But yet again, I extended my hand to give him a handshake. And yet again, he handed me another Machine King card. It almost became a ritual. I told him, "Sir, you already gave me one of these. Anyways, I don't want the card, I'd just like a handshake." He replied, "Oh, well, if you want a different card, I have plenty more at my house. And I actually don't live too far from here. You can pick any card you want if you come with me." I told him, "Well, I don't know. My dad told me not to go anywhere with strangers." This time he replied with, "Well, what's your name?" I was hesitant for a second, but I thought there couldn't possibly be any harm in telling him my name. I said, "My name is Ricky." And he said, "Well, my name's Tom. See? I'm not a stranger anymore." He ushered me towards the exit of the store. I don't know why, but I stupidly went with him. Wasn't thinking clearly. Before we made it to the exit of the store, I was stopped in my tracks by a booming voice of my father. "Ricky, where do you think you're going?" I looked back to see my dad running towards me. Tom, as soon as he saw my dad, took off in the opposite direction, running as fast as he could out of the store. My dad snatched me up in his arms and immediately ran to the nearest employee to have them alert management. This all was caught on security camera. After this, we were constantly on the lookout for this guy. Because of this incident, from then on, there were always 2 police officers present at these Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments at the local Walmart. I'm not sure if they ever caught the guy or whatever happened to him, but my dad and I were both scared at the thought of what could have happened.
That's some messed up stuff there.
It was for Jack. I know he loves his Yu-Gi-Oh. I joke about it, but that's terrifying. Okay, let me start back at the beginning, which is strange to me. The local Walmart is having Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments in the lawn and garden section. Did this happen at your local Walmart, Luke?
No, but I don't know. There's probably some areas of the country where, Yu-Gi-Oh is so big that they might do something like that. Walmarts have done stuff before. Nothing like that, though, here.
Pretty creepy, though.
Yeah.
8 years old so I have a daughter that's 8, and I thought, man, I don't know if I'd leave my daughter hanging out in the lawn and garden section, but this seemed to be quite some time ago, right? I guess people like to say we live in a different world these days.
I'm trying to think, this is probably, I think they mentioned this was, near the beginning of Yu-Gi-Oh! It was,
Yeah, that's the impression I was getting, yep, for sure, because it was at its main peak of popularity, so you're going back over 20 years, 25 years, something maybe?
early 2000 or before
Something,
even.
yeah, I don't know the exact dates.
Yeah, that's crazy. Totally believable, too. Like I said, the only thing that's weird is, this being at Walmart, but I will say that when Walmart first came to our town, a long time ago, they were giving away Super Nintendos as their special event that day. For every hour, they gave away one to someone. So, them doing stuff like that is something that makes sense. It could have been a new Walmart in the area, even. It was doing, Yu-Gi-Oh! Events to get people to show up or something.
Oh, Walmart. I just think of people hanging out in their big trucks.
Yeah.
I guess just having the time of their life, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
This Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a near miss. This incident is definitely a near miss. It could have been really bad. The dad came back at the right time.
This reminds me of a few of your other stories about, dads leaving their kids alone at different events
It seemed like he probably wasn't the only person doing that, though, at this particular.
Probably not, but just reminds you of, the flea market one. And
Yeah. Yeah, I do think I could definitely see the truth behind this because, people always talk about, luring people with candy, right? But,
yeah.
Hey, I've got these Yu-Gi-Oh cards at my house. Kind of seemed like he didn't, say that right away, right? It took a few weeks before he did that.
I would like to know what happened to this person, if they were ever caught.
Yep, I looked for an update. I could not find anything on it. But here's the thing, though, right? If you're 8 years old, what do you really know about it? I guess you could ask your parents for an update, but how you would remember the events of everything, I don't know if you would know.
Yeah.
Somebody said they'd go for a good card. That's why it's so scary. You like to say you wouldn't go. Like this kid knew about the dangers of this, right? He had been told about this by his parents, but the guy said, he could pick out any card that he wanted. Just the thought of that was enough to get things moving like that. So that's terrifying.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?